Hello and welcome to another episode of Cyclone InCyders. I'm Zach Williamson here, joined with Ben Olson, Lester Muirichia, and Kobe Gaines. And as always, we're going to start off talking a little ISU football.
Nice.
The Cyclones this past weekend dominated the Kansas Jayhawks in a 45-0 win. I mean, all sides of the ball. The Cyclones, convincingly were a way better team than the Jayhawks. Guys, a lot of big plays in the game. Probably Trevor Ryan's punt return, 68 yards for a touchdown, was probably the biggest play of the game. Tell me, guys, what was your guys' biggest take from this last weekend?
Iowa State was playing under not the most ideal conditions, but they were playing a far inferior team. So it was good to see Iowa State go out there and take care of them, even when it was kind of hard for them to muster the motivation for this game. Definitely. I mean, coming off of beating number 3 Oklahoma, and now you get faced with Kansas. This was the perfect trap game for Iowa State, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And we came out and we just dominated in all facets of the game. So, the fact that the shutout was my biggest takeaway, really, and that we got the job done.
Yeah, the defense was great throughout. Les?
I'll get you back. Defense was absolutely phenomenal. Guys went 2 for 17 on third down, which means they were off the field. Our offense got a chance to run their stuff, and you guys know what I say. Just run your stuff. Don't try to be fancy. And then something else that stuck out to me was, again, just the leadership by Joe Lanning. Week in and week out, he continues to be a leader on and off the field. Of course, Trevor Ryan. Special teams was huge. Dowling, our punter, just pinning guys in the end zone inside the 10-yard. So it was really tough. He made it really tough for Kansas to get anything going. And Spencer, I'm going to get him, Zach. I'm going to get him. How dare he come on this show last week, and the soliloquy that came out of that guy's mouth is beyond my understanding. So I don't know, Spencer. You're going to have to come through me before you come back on our show.
Les, you spoke a little bit about the leadership of Lanning and the defense, and later you'll get a soundbite from the coaching staff about how much the seniors mean to this team, and you see on the offensive side of the ball too. Kobe, what did you take away from this game?
All right, a couple things. I want to go off what you said, Les, on the Clone Zone today. Putting these teams to bed. They've put Kansas to bed, and that's for sure. Basketball is another thing. But a thing that kind of stuck out for me was, you said Trevor Ryan, how he's the special teams, Big 12 special team player of the week, which definitely deserves it. He downed 4 punts in the on the 5-yard line and behind, and also he had the 68-yard touchdown, and he also had that fumble recovery that he picked up too. So he was all over the place, and we had Iron Man Joe Lanning. 57 snaps total, 39 on defense and then 9 on offense and special teams. That man was all over the place. The team in 10 tackles, two and a half tackles for loss. So, none you can say more. He's just a true leader right there.
Yeah, you won't see that anywhere in the country where a player can dominate from both sides of the ball like Lanning has done. Some other highlights, I guess, was Cotton Moya's interception.
Yes,
nice
definitely.
To get the defense and the team rolling early in the game. Another big performance, I guess, was Montgomery. He had 3 touchdowns, only 68 yards.
Not too bad.
He joked about after the game, getting talked about I didn't do much. I just put the ball in the end zone when it was down there. But hey, that's all you can ask for. But I guess that kind of moves us into this dominating win, and after the Oklahoma win. For the Cyclones, now they're sitting at 4-2. Do you think the main goal for this football team, like the beginning of the year, was to make a bowl game? Would you say that's still this team's goal, or do you think this team should be shooting for maybe a little bit higher?
You got to remember, we're still talking about a program that is just trying to get into national prominence right now.
Definitely.
So I'm going to be taking it one step at a time. I think a bowl game is just essential, and I don't think this team should think about anything else until we get that 6-win mark. And then once we hit that 6-win mark, then we can take the next step and get 7 wins.
Definitely.
And Coach Campbell preaches that in the locker room every time. And you got to remember, this team, we may be 4-2, but even at 4-2, we're already setting stats that this team hasn't had in years. They said this is the best start in Big 12 play since 2002. first time we've been 4-2 since 2012. So those are great steps right there. But for me, bowl game and that 6-win mark, until we get there, I don't really want to be thinking about anything else.
No, you're true. I mean, they got to take it week by week, game by game. That's the only way they're going to get to where they want to go. Les, what are your thoughts? Do you think they should stay with just the bowl game, or do you think this team should at least start thinking about a bigger picture?
Zach, you know I'm an optimist. And that being said, I believe in this team. You know, we talked a little bit about this with you and Kobe on KURE Sports Radio today. And in my opinion, the Cyclones have momentum that's going upwards. This program is growing. This program is improving week after week after week. And football is a game of momentum. So what the goal here is to do is just continue to let that roll in going into this week. From Texas to Oklahoma, Kansas. You know, continue to build, and I think bowl game. Yes, like keep it on your mind, but it's coming. You know, it's coming. Just continue to do what you're doing. Continue to execute well defensively. Kyle Kemp continue slinging the ball well. Continue trusting in David Montgomery. Let the coaching staff continue to do what they do best. And this game, Zach, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna call it. We're getting into a good bowl game.
I like it. You know what? I agree. I definitely think they do have the talent. They showed that the last few games to, make something happen for sure. Kobe, you got any thoughts?
Just proven that, Iowa State isn't a sleeper anymore. Not one of the bottom feeders. They're definitely contending, and that's something that people are starting to notice. That's why you're seeing Iowa State being on TV a little bit more now, against top tier teams. But you cannot sleep on the rest of these games, like we were saying. Bowl game is definitely what what we're going for. Once we get past, this Texas Tech, you cannot sleep on them right now as well. And then you have TCU, West Virginia, and Oklahoma State right after that, that are conference, and they're all ranked right now, nationally. So definitely, I feel like if we go take it by week, Iowa State can definitely, hop in the top 25 and maybe get up there to get in the playoffs. But it's a little far cry right now, but we'll see.
Ben talked about national recognition. We've been on ESPN twice. So far,
it's a good way to build it. It's a
Fox
good way to
Sports,
build it,
right? And then TCU potentially ESPN2.
Yeah, college game day.
So continue getting this national recognition, and I think Iowa State's definitely going to be on the map.
Yeah, I think this past weekend was an extremely big win for a couple reasons. One, beating this team 45-0 shows. Like in the years past, the Cyclones may have struggled with a team like Kansas, a team where it's like, the Cyclones need to win this game. And that would have been a nail-biter. They took care of business against, a very untalented Kansas team. But that showed a lot to me. And the fact that we've been on so many games on the other side of that, where they've been blown out, it was nice to see the Cyclones do that. But this weekend, there'll be a much tougher matchup for the Cyclones and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. A few of the guys in the football team gave me a little insight on the Red Raiders and kind of talked about how good this defense for the Cyclones has been playing. Let's take a look.
We have a great strength and conditioning program here, and Coach Wade, has us all ready, and we're in shape. And Texas Tech is really fast and physical, and it's gonna be fun.
I mean, ever since we got in the Big 12 play, everything's been kind of tempo, so we've kind of already had that mindset.
We got a long road ahead of us here. We got some tough battles here down the stretch, so we by no means have arrived. We've played better football than we've played since we've been here, and that's good. But the encouragement to me is our seniors, the way they practice, the way they prepare. You're just talking to yourself if they don't do it, and they're leading by example, and that's been the funnest part, and that's when you have a chance to be a good team.
So everybody knows Texas Tech, they're explosive, they're fast, they try to play the game quick, they try to spread you out, get you at matchups. The Red Raiders are 4-2. They were ranked last week 23rd before, they were up big on the Mountaineers before losing that game to West Virginia, who is now ranked. Who are some key players to watch for Texas Tech?
So I did some homework. Watched some game film the last couple of days. So they got a senior quarterback by the name of Nick Shymonk. Not sure if that's how you say it. Senior last week, these are his numbers: 24 for 39, 323 yards, 61%, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. This is a good Texas Tech team, and they have good leadership, they have good coaching, and some decent receivers here and there, but one person that stood out to me was T.J. Vasher. He's a freshman, 6'6", 190 pounds. He had 2 receptions, 113 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So the final score for this game, I believe, was 50. We can get that later, but it doesn't matter. They lost to West Virginia, but they played a pretty good game. On the other hand, their defense, the Texas Tech was in the lead for the majority of the game. And then West Virginia came up. Their defense lagged a little bit. Secondary didn't look so strong. The guys looked a little bit fatigued and weren't finessing very well, blowing coverages here and there. And just that being said, I'm not too concerned. I mean, Texas is a good team, and they deserve the national ranking that they are. But guys to watch for Zach is that quarterback and TJ Vasher.
Okay.
I'm gonna piggyback off you. You said quarterback Nick Schmonik. Yeah, Schmonik. He this season he has 18 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, but he has 2,134 yards passing this year. So he definitely slings the rock. And then one of his key key wide receivers is Kiki Conti, and he has 45 receptions this year, 672 yards, and 6 touchdowns. So, I mean, you definitely, hopefully, Cotton Moria and the cornerbacks, play him well because I think the Iowa State defense is, the key factor for this game.
Well, yeah, and they have a pretty good running game as well with Justin Stockton.
Oh, yeah,
he
true.
Has 481 yards on the season, 4 touchdowns, averaging 6 yards a carry.
Wow.
So he's also had a good season. And, the Cyclones are going to have to play well to beat Texas Tech. And starting with Ben, what is the key for the Cyclones in this game? What do they need to do to pull out the victory?
You guys just highlighted it. Cliff Kingsbury's been on the hot seat, right, last few years, and I think this year he finally has the tools on offense that are really helping Texas Tech succeed. So the way I look at it is the turnover battle is going to be really important because, Iowa State history, we don't win the turnover battle, we don't win the games. That's a big thing in Coach Campbell era so far. So the best way to slow down a good offense is to get them to turn the ball over. So, and we saw our defense do that last week against Kansas. So if they can keep that momentum going and we can get some turnovers, that will help our offense out, who's been much more conservative with Kemp, but we're not turning the ball over. And that's a big thing for our success so far. So that is the most important aspect of this game for me.
I agree 100%, Ben. I mean, the Kansas game, how many turnovers did the Cyclones have?
0.
And they upset the Sooners in Norman. Folks, they had 0 turnovers. That is going to be a huge key in the game Saturday. Les, give me another key.
So I think something that sticks out to me, and this might be a little odd, but what I saw from the special teams unit was a momentum builder for the Cyclone offense and defense. These guys were putting teams in horrible positions, especially with the punt team, kickoff. Use like the kick return, punt return by Trevor Ryan. Use little things like that to get ahead in the game. And then of course defense, you covered it. Get off the field on 3rd down. Plain and simple. If you want to be a good quarterback, keep him off the field. Iowa State, we're not fancy. There's nothing too complex about our offense. So when we have the ball, again, just continue to run your stuff. Let Montgomery, run the ball well. Use your receivers. These guys are big, and then definitely take advantage of that secondary that will fatigue and maybe lose their endurance late in the game. So in my opinion, Zach, those are my keys to victory.
Okay, Kobe.
All right, I'm gonna piggyback off you. Just definitely stick with that defense and the offense. Just tire Texas Tech down. That's for sure. Another thing is just use that momentum. That's a big thing that we've been discussing. Is use that momentum, especially from that loss to Texas. To motivate you to beat Oklahoma. Use that motivation that you beat Oklahoma with. Use that momentum onto Kansas and now to Texas Tech because you're going to Lubbock, Texas. Against a team that Texas Tech solid. They're ready to come back and get a win after losing to West Virginia. They're a little mad. So it's definitely, I love it. I love the Big 12 conference, and I love it. Just so much competition, and it's definitely people starting to notice that. Big 12 conferences is starting to get the publicity that it needs because it definitely is a powerful conference.
Yeah, Iowa State's not the cellar dweller with Kansas this year anymore, so that puts 8 teams even with. I mean, Baylor's having their bad year, but that's 8 teams in the Big 12. They can all compete right at the top. I mean, Texas Tech only lost by like 4 to Oklahoma State in their prolific offense, so.
You're right. I think a lot of it has to do with, the positivity around campus right now. It starts at the fan base and works all the way up. I mean, people believe in the Cyclone team all of a sudden. In the past years, that just hasn't been the case, and you can just see it in the way they're playing. You can see it around campus, just everywhere. But lastly, to finish it up, guys, who you got Saturday? Give me a score. Give me a winner.
Well, the way I look at it, Iowa State's had 3 really big games this year. The Iowa game, they were short. The Texas game, they were not on their game, and those are both at home. So I'm expecting Iowa State to play well on the road in this game, and I'm hoping for a surprise. Keep their momentum going. I'm going to go Cyclones 38-35.
Okay. Let's see what you got.
Pass the rock.
So, my Cyclones, here's my message to you guys. We beat this team last year 66-10 at home.
Have Mahomes.
At home, yeah. We're not
Mahomes-led team.
He did. We're not at our house this year, but this is something that sticks to me in the Big Ten. 66-10 victory at our house. It's not the same Texas Tech team that we're playing, but again, just use this. Use the momentum, like Kobe said. Run your stuff. I'm gonna pick the Cyclones to win this one. I think defense will be the biggest thing, and I'm thinking kind of low scoring on this one. So I'm gonna call it maybe 21-17. IOCU.
Hand it off to me real quick.
Kobe, run it back.
All right. Iowa State. I have Iowa State winning 31-21. I'm gonna throw Garrett Owens in there, get him a few, get him some field goals, show him some love. So, he's almost kind of like the forgotten one, being a kicker.
He's had a great season.
Yeah, he's been doing great. So
replacing the all-time scoring leader in Iowa State football.
That's the thing. So, definitely, it starts on all 3 phases, like we said. So, offense, Kemp is calm, cool, and collective. And he's definitely kind of owning up that it's his offense, We're getting that now. So, and Montgomery, keep doing what you're doing. Landon, keep being Iron Man. It's going to be a great game.
Kemp's going to take care of the ball. Montgomery's having a great game. Cyclone offense is going to be clicking on all cylinders. I like the Cyclones to win 38-27 in Lubbock this Saturday and move to 5-2. Yes. That's all we have for you here on the football segment of Cyclone InCyders. Next, we'll get into some volleyball, some soccer, some golf. We'll have it all. Stay tuned. You're watching InCyders.
That's the one. I will not be news today. I will not make another push to be the first man in space with frosted tips and a puka shell necklace. And I will not go viral when my terror is caught on camera when I finally realize that in the vacuum of space, no one can hear you sing. I'm Lance Bass, and I will not be trending today because there is a much bigger story that needs to be heard.
Save the Bears. Sign the petition. Go to helpbears.org. That's helpbears.org.
Verde, verde, verde. Es tu hogar, es tu ambiente. La prueba de ratón, la salud la protege. Hazlo verde, verde, verde.
El vivir verde es asegurarse que el aire en su hogar es saludable para su familia. Asegúrese de hacer una prueba de radón en su hogar. Es fácil. Para saber más, llame al 866-528-3187. Proteja la salud y el bienestar de su familia. Haga la prueba de radón en su hogar. Eso es vivir de manera saludable y verde.
La prueba de ratón, la salud la protege. Hazlo verde, verde, verde.
La prueba de radón es fácil. Solo llame al 866-528-3187.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Welcome back to Cyclone InCyders. I'm still here with Ben Olson. Now I'm joined at the desk with Brian Birchka.
Glad to be here.
And to start off, we're going to get into soccer right away. And, you know, Ben was at one of the most recent games, and here he is with the coverage.
After multiple close matches, the Iowa State soccer team was looking to put it all together against the Oklahoma Sooners and claim their first Big 12 victory.
Battling the elements at the Cyclone Sports Complex, neither team was able to gain solid momentum. The Cyclones were the aggressor as they fired 19 shots on the night and finished with a 10-4 shots on goal advantage over the Sooners. Junior Clacy Metalberg led the team with a career-high 7 shots, while fellow junior Brooke Tasker launched 5. The Cyclone backline also had a strong performance, fending off Oklahoma advances, which created more offensive opportunities for Iowa State. After 2 overtimes, both teams were unable to connect on a shot, and the match ended in a 0-0 tie. Despite being eluded by victory, head coach Tony Minata was pleased with his team's all-around effort.
You know, it was one of the more complete performances we've had. Obviously, we created a lot of goal-scoring chances, but we couldn't close any of those out. But in terms of just team defense and heart and determination, we really played all the way through. I mean, this was our 5th overtime game this season, and we've been on the losing end of 3 of those. So to get the result and get the shutout, we haven't had a shutout since UMKC. So really just proud of the team and their effort, and it's one big step forward for us. Having Stella come back was a big boost to the team after she's been out for the last 4 games. So we're just going to continue to build off this and close it out.
Iowa State will look to use this game as momentum on their quest for a Big 12 victory.
Getting the result, not giving up any goals, and the opportunities that we created, I think really gives them the mindset that they not only can do it, but now they're looking to get that goal and put some of those chances that we created away.
The Cyclones will look to gain a Big 12 victory this week against 25th ranked Oklahoma State at the Cyclone Sports Complex or on the road against West Virginia. For ISU TV, I'm Ben Olson.
Great package, Ben. And there we've seen another tough game for the Cyclones. They just can't quite win that first Big 12 game of the season. Ben, after that, they lost to Oklahoma State in overtime, 1-2. Kind of tell us some of the recent activity that's been going on with the women's soccer team.
You know, this team is battle-tested. They've had a gauntlet of a schedule this season.
They have.
And
they really have.
I credit that to them for, you know, going after that. They're trying to get better every season. And so, I mean, starting with the Oklahoma game, they came out and they packed a punch that whole game. The one thing was they just could not connect on a goal. It was rainy and dreary that day, you saw. And, I mean, they were battling the conditions, but they really did dominate Oklahoma in that game. They just couldn't get the shot to go through, unfortunately, and that win evaded them. But I think they should be proud of themselves. They really carried some of that attitude and momentum into the Oklahoma State game. Oklahoma State was ranked 25th at the time, and they really looked good out there. Taking Oklahoma State to overtime just didn't have the energy. They were worn down at the end of that weekend.
Just kind of the story it seems like of so many games this season.
Yeah, I know. And so then they got that little ways off until Friday at West Virginia, where I think they were just fatigued at the end of that one, and a tough place to go and win on the road. But one thing I noticed about this team is that they may be injury plagued, but a different girl keeps stepping up every night. I mean, I talked about it in the package. Clacy Metalberg had an incredible game, career game for her in the Oklahoma game, and then Brooke Tasker stepped up, and then Tegan Alexander had a nice game on Friday. So, I mean, these girls are getting valuable experience against tough competition in the Big 12, and I think that this is really going to pay dividends for them farther into the season and down the road.
I couldn't agree more because, you know, they're just dealing with so many injuries, so many players that maybe wouldn't be seeing as much time as they're seeing. I mean, wouldn't be getting that time if it weren't for the injuries. So they're definitely getting battle tested. They're getting better. Stay tough with those Cyclones because, you know, they're going to turn things around. They've just had a tough season of injuries. They are a good ball club. But that's going to move us over to volleyball. You know, there's 2 games last week. 1-1 in both games.
Yep.
Brian, kind of give us some insight on the Cyclones volleyball team.
Yeah. So we'll start with Wednesday. Kansas State. We went down to Kansas State and swept. It was Samara West's best game of the year. Great showing for the team. Unfortunately, then came Saturday. Went down to Austin, Texas. Got swept there. It was never really a close matchup. We had 21 errors versus Texas 10 errors. Missed kill attempts wide and long, and Texas held us to a 121% hit percentage. And anytime ISU's held below 100 or in the hundreds, they lose. It happened to Baylor. It's happened multiple times. And it really came down to depth. No one at Texas really stood out. No one had crazy stats, and the entire team was successful. So yeah, it's just they were the better team, and even the coach for Iowa State said she wasn't upset at all. It was just Texas is that good.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Texas is, I mean, their volleyball program year in and year out is one of the best in the country. This year, just another one of those years. Like you said, the 21 errors, very unlike Iowa State. That's something to be a little upset about, a little worried about. But like you said, very good Texas team in Austin. That's tough to come out with a win.
Volleyball team is still looking for that signature win, I feel like, in Big 12 play.
They're right there. They're just missing that big win. And, you know, they have a decent chance of beating a pretty good Big 12 team in their next game, and that's West Virginia tomorrow night.
So yeah, WVU's 13-6, led by sophomore Peyton Caffrey. She's averaging 3 kills per game, or 3 kills per set, which is huge. And what's going for the Cyclones is they're 10-0 against WVU since the Mountaineers joined the Big 12 in 2012. So I'm looking forward to that matchup.
Yeah, that sounds like a good matchup for the Cyclones, and hopefully they can keep that win streak alive. And that also brings us to our Iowa State women's golf team. The golf team's in their second round of action today. They moved up to 8th place at the Stanford Invitational, just a few points out from the top 5. So keep working hard to the women's golf team. They're right there. We'll see what they can do. But that's all we have today for Cyclone Insiders. Tune in next Tuesday for more Cyclone sports. I'm Zach Williamson. Take care.